I'm always laser focused, and it's great. Oh, and Giggler joined. Yay! Hi. You're just in
Hi.
time. We just went live.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Hi, everyone. It's me, Jenna, and Justin. Oh, I pointed the wrong way. I'm sorry.
Giggler.
Justin, Giggler, with a
Let's go
beer.
right
Is that a beer?
Here. Yes, it is.
I wish I had a beer.
This is probably
Oh.
my house IPA, I'd say. When I'm not
that's
feeling in a
cool.
fancy mood, I'll drink Torpedo.
That's fancy.
No, this is not fancy. There's a lot
Oh.
fancy. This is a cheap one.
Oh, okay. Not fancy. Justin,
Yes.
I haven't talked to you in like 3 months because we only talked through the show. Like, other than that, we have no communication whatsoever. What's
Yeah.
up?
I forgot what you looked like.
You know, I just wear glasses now. It's my thing. That's all.
Hi. Yeah. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. You
Jenna
know.
does have the new Discord avatar, which it looks more like you than the other one did. So it reminded.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
that was the point, and I'm glad you noticed that.
I've been taking a lot of grief from people saying that the masked baby is a bit creepy. Like looking
It's
at
creepy now only because wearing a mask is just any old thing,
it. Yeah.
and the fact that it's a baby.
I could switch to a picture of me, but you got to stick with the branding you chose. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
You just pick a brand and that's you forever.
Yep.
Yeah. This is me. I'm stick to it, no matter how creepy it is.
Yep.
That's fine.
I'm gonna take the mask off at some point, but it's not time yet.
I had my face as a Discord avatar for a while, and then I went with the all black animation when I got Nitro, and then I choose my face again, the same one that I used for my Facebook page, and people said it's too serious. So now I'm some cartoon version of me with weird hair and a mask on from work.
I don't know how I could have put a mask on mine. I just made it from like a free app I found. I don't know.
Oh, you made that from a free app?
Yeah.
Oh,
you've got to let me know what that is.
Oh.
I'm gonna find.
I mean, you got to go through an ad every 10 seconds, but you know, it's fine.
Every app that I've found that turns a picture into a cartoon, all wind up being paid. I can't find any free.
Oh, I used a picture to a cartoon app. It was free.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
We'll post that link in the channel so everyone can have a free app to make cartoon versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Send the checks this way, free app makers.
Anyways, welcome back, y'all. Good to see y'all again. It's been a while. I guess, I mean, I've been busy. I guess you could say that. Justin, you've been busy. Giggler has been Giggler.
I've been pretending to work. So
see,
we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while for the show and also just activity in general for me. I've been kind of out of the social media picture for a while until, very recently. Most of that was because I was sick for about a month, but also working and just kind of being busy with a lot and trying to get reorganized.
Did you have COVID?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, I might as well have. I had a really bad cough. I just felt like I felt like I had the flu, or something similar to that. Mm-hmm. But I had the same thing last year, right, in October, November, where I had a cough for like 3 months, and I just couldn't kick it. It was some sort of respiratory infection. I feel better now.
I imagine you were tested for COVID?
No.
You weren't. Okay,
no.
Dude, you had COVID.
No.
That's not how that works.
No, my wife tested for it twice, and she tested negative.
Actually, I would have been convinced he had COVID until he said that a year ago he had something with very similar symptoms.
It was the exact same thing. Yeah, I had pre-COVID.
I've got a friend at work who I think in February, like late February, he was out of work for about 10 days with a really bad flu. And his entire family was sick with a really bad flu.
Mm.
And he keeps insisting he didn't have COVID. And I'm like, dude. But he also says he's never had the flu that bad. And he's not the kind of person who would like goof off and take extra sick days. So yeah, I'm convinced he had COVID.
Could be surprise.
It could be. There's always a story where somebody had a bad flu for the first time at later on in life. I hear it quite often.
Mm-hmm. Even if you do get your flu shot, yeah. I mean, it could lessen the symptoms of the influenza, but I mean, potentially you could still contract the influenza.
Right. That's true. I haven't had a flu like that in a while, but I remember, almost 25 years ago, I had a flu where it's one of those you don't leave the bathroom for 2 days, it seems like. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And if that happened right now, I'd probably say, I got COVID.
You sound like that's what my mother say. COVID. Yeah. Shoot. Well, I'm glad you're better, Justin, since I haven't talked to you in 3 months. Glad you're better. Giggler, what have you been up to? Last time we spoke, you were in a deep, intimate relationship with Mormons.
in your driveway.
Yeah,
that's one way of putting it.
Has it transformed into an extensive love long-term thing? Like,
so interestingly, that video on YouTube now has like 300 and something views, and one of those views is the leader guy of the Mormon missionaries, because I gave him a link and he watched it, and then he came over for our next meeting and we talked about it.
What did he say?
He had brought something like 5 pages of handwritten notes of things I'd said that he wanted to disagree with. It was interesting. Very cordial. We had a great conversation.
So are we the bad influence on you, or are you the bad influence on us?
Keeping in mind,
I'm only gonna say this because you asked.
Keeping in mind, we didn't tell you to share this, so they would not have found it unless you actually shared it.
I thought about it, and I knew that if I shared this with them, they probably wouldn't want to talk to me anymore. But I also felt like I was doing my best to be honest. Yeah, we were having fun, we were joking a bit, but I was really just saying this was my experience, and I felt like a liar not sharing it with them, if that makes sense. So yeah, he went through his list of objections he had to what I said. It stayed very friendly, and he even said to me, he said, Giggler, he said, did
he call you Giggler?
Well, he did. I was going to use my name, but I don't know.
Yes, Giggler.
He said, if you were my neighbor, I would love to have these conversations with you about religion, because we can have this conversation, right? We're not going to yell at each other. We're not going to get mad, and we have a differing opinion. It's fun too. He said, but this is not our goal. We're out evangelizing. We're out to find church members. And you don't seem like you're somebody who's interested in joining the church. Well, that's true. You're right. So,
but you already had made that known with the other two, right? How was that even a surprise?
Maybe watching that 90-minute video of me talking about the Mormons to some extent behind their backs really drove home the point that I'm not a good candidate for conversion.
They lost all hope.
But he got the point enough to say that we're probably not going to come see you anymore.
So
but they did leave the door open, and they said, if you want to read the Book of Mormon, we'd love to come back and talk to you. But if all you're interested in doing is having this conversation, it's a great neighbor over the fence conversation, but it's not what these missionaries are in the missionary field for, to do that. So that happened.
The proper classification right now is you're friends with benefits.
Jesus.
What?
You were occupying all their time. They're supposed to be getting new members, not having picnics with you in your lawn.
But they did come back after that.
Oh, God.
They came back.
Wanted more. They came back.
They can't get enough of the giggles.
Yeah. I think where it stands now, because I've been texting with them in the last week or two, and they really want me to read C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. I told them I would read that, and so they texted me a week or two ago to say, "Hey, have you read that book? If so, we want to come talk to you about it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't really gotten around to it."
Invite him to our book club.
Yeah, and I said, "You guys are welcome to come over and talk anyway." And they said, "Well, we'd rather you invest something first."
Cliff notes.
If you look at how cults operate, they often want you to make an investment, and there's a name for this. Theremin Trees has a great video on it. That when you've invested something, you immediately start falling victim to the gambler's fallacy or the sunk cost fallacy. If I read the book they want me to read, if I sit and read through the Book of Mormon, and then they come talk to me, I don't want to feel like I've wasted my time reading the Book of Mormon. So now I'm more likely to say, maybe there is something here. Let's have this conversation. Then they can invite me to do something else that's some effort on my part. And now I've invested more in this. And if they continue to incrementally get me to invest enough in this religion, I'll join this religion. Now, I was speaking generically. I'm not going to join it, but that's how it would work on a person. That's how it does work for them on a regular basis, I think.
I feel like low-key Giggler's going to come back here in a year as a Mormon.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be
that would be so awesome.
All the same arguments of why we should be Mormons.
That would be the most viewed show ever.
We would definitely.
All our non-Mormon friends. So
Joseph
we can
Smith
convince
is
the
a
whole
true
world.
prophet. You guys just need to understand.
God.
I didn't believe it at first, but I just didn't read C.S. Lewis.
God.
Anyway, so sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say.
Ping flag.
No, I was just gonna say, yay! Great catching up with you, Giggler, and your friends with benefits relationship with the Mormons. I hope it goes out well.
Goes out.
Did I say that right?
If the benefits are them getting food from me, then yes, it's friends with benefits. But there's nothing weird.
Oh, because you had made a plate of enchiladas for them that one time, remember?
Yes, and
that's.
I think I said when I make enchiladas, I make like half a dozen pans of enchiladas, put them all in the freezer, and then later at some point I'll make more enchiladas.
Oh.
I was making enchiladas a month or maybe 6 weeks ago, and as I got all the pans out, I have all these very nice baking pans to make my enchiladas in, and they all have lids for them so I can stack them in the freezer. And I couldn't find one of the lids for one of the pans. And I'm like, and I'm searching the whole kitchen. How did I lose this lid? And I'm like, fucking Mormons. They didn't return the lid when they returned the pan.
Excuse me, we're tolerant here, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not cursing?
No, I'm just kidding.
And I think maybe they kept it on purpose because now they have a hook. Hey, Giggler, I know you don't want to see us again, but we need to return the lid for that enchilada pan.
Oh, that's their future in.
Yeah.
They're in right there.
Yep.
Perfect segue to talk about voter fraud. All right.
Boy.
So, Giggler, you had mentioned some interesting stuff to us before the show, and I kind of want you to repeat it, like word for word. So, recall some memory here. Yes.
That's a long, boring story, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay. That's fine.
So this came up because just before I was talking to you guys, I was talking to my dad. My dad is a red hat wearing Trump supporter. He's in Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity. Who's the other guy who got Me Too'd? O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah. My dad is in with these guys. So we're talking about the election, and I said to my dad, I said it seems absolutely what's going to happen is that Joe Biden is going to win the popular election, right? The Democrats won it last time. The polls are showing they're going to win it this time. Democrats are going to win the popular election. It also seems like, based on polls, that Joe Biden is going to win the Electoral College, but he's not going to do so by a wide margin. Very likely he will win the Electoral College by a slim margin. If Joe Biden wins the Electoral College by a slim margin, we all know Donald Trump, right? He's already announcing there's been voter fraud. If Joe Biden wins the Electoral College by a slim margin, the Republicans are going to find a number of electoral votes that will give Trump the presidency, and they're going to sue over those votes. And this has happened in this country before. in 2000, George W. Bush lost the popular election, right? George W. Bush, and it's funny, I'm old enough that in 2000, I was 30 years old, and I remember sitting up on election night waiting to see who won the election. And it was the first time that they had ever not announced a winner of the election on election night. I went, and I stayed up till 2, 3 in the morning, and I went to bed not knowing who'd won the presidency. And none of us knew until all the lawsuits got settled. I think it was like weeks later. And it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, which I think was 5-4 Republican at that point, voted 5-4 that George W. Bush was the winner. So right now we've got a Supreme Court that's 6-3. If the Republicans lose the Electoral College by a slim margin, they're going to find some votes to sue over, and the lawsuits are going to start, and the ultimate decider is going to be that 6-3 Supreme Court. There's no way that Supreme Court is choosing to make Joe Biden the president. So the point of all this is that to win the presidency, Joe Biden doesn't just have to win, like should be the case. He's got to win, and what I said to my dad was he's got to cover the point spread. He's got to win by a big enough margin that there won't be lawsuits over a handful of Electoral College votes. Because if there are lawsuits over a handful of Electoral College votes, the Supreme Court decides, and they're going to give the presidency to Trump. So even though I feel like the polls are showing Joe Biden's going to be the winner, there's a good path for Trump to be the president anyway, which is fucking awful.
Well, the question here is, what stops them from launching these lawsuits, even if it's not a close race, right? So if we're saying that the Supreme Court has a potential to be the ultimate decider here, what's stopping them from suing, even because remember, in the 2016 election, Trump claimed it was over 3 million fraudulent votes.
Yeah,
right? That's not a small number, and he can make the same claims and people believed it. I've talked personally to people who firmly believed that 3 million votes just came out of nowhere. No evidence, no argumentation, no nothing. Just, he won, even though he was 3 million votes short. He won the popular vote. There was just, they just could not believe that he lost the popular vote. So, and we're not talking about a close race. We're talking about any outcome of there's going to be enough people who believe whatever he says that they'll support, lawsuits or, whatever actions get taken to try to overturn this.
Mm-hmm.
The Electoral College is weird because even when the country is split like 51 to 49%, you can still see an Electoral College vote that works out as a landslide, just based on how the system works. It's a wretched system. But I think if the Electoral College winds up being a landslide and they have to have a lawsuit in half a dozen states or more to say all of these votes were fraudulent, it's a losing battle for them. I mean, they could still do it, I guess.
It's a losing battle for who, though, right? You're talking about Republicans. You're talking about people that are, there's enough people that they are willing to go to war. They're willing to march on state capitals. We're talking about trying to kidnap governors.
So if it's the case that they would put up a fight, even if there was a clear victory, then we might as well throw our hands up and say, don't even bother voting, right? Because they're just going to announce they won no matter what. I hope that's not the case. I hope they would only do this if there's a Florida situation, if they can say hanging chads, if they can. Right.
But that's precisely the point of them, exacerbating this whole idea of rampant voter fraud, right? Here's a great example of like people trying to really nitpick and investigate people, enacting this whole, big conspiracy theory of rampant voter fraud. Back in 2012, when Obama was going for re-election and Romney was up, there's like a group of precincts in Philadelphia where not Philadelphia, I guess the whole state of Pennsylvania. Anyway, there's a group of precincts in that state that collectively 100% every single person voted for Obama. There wasn't a single vote for Romney. And, 3 electoral committee people in that state were like questionable about it, obviously so, because that's never ever occurred in the history of America. So one particular guy, he was a Republican, he addressed that, and he was electoral college representative, and he investigated for months to try to figure out why that occurred. Turns out these precincts were very small, and these were in areas to where minorities with my skin color had voted unanimously. Hi, child.
Yeah.
Had voted unanimously for Obama. And that was just so out of whack for them to understand, so unheard of to think that this one Black man had 100% of the votes. And they pretty much isolated that issue as saying, oh, it was fraudulent, or oh, we need to investigate it, or oh, we can't understand why these small minority precinct groups would just 100% vote for Obama. There must be some fraudulent activity, which when that is said against a minority group of people, we automatically feel like we're the blame game here. You're playing the blame game on us to say that we somehow forged the votes, made it so Obama had more than 100% of the precinct votes in that state. And you're accusing us of something that you're trying to create this whole like fear-mongering issue about. And that's not the case. And it just makes us feel as if we are targeted, and just further trying to discourage us from even trying to vote in the first place. So that's a very clear example of just like them trying to bolster this whole like, oh, it's happening in these urban areas. The rural areas don't have anything like this. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's kind of been saying from the start, from the very beginning of his first campaign, that the only way he would lose, or that he can even possibly lose, is if there's widespread voter fraud, if it's rigged, right? So that's been the narrative from the start, and not saying that every conservative or Republican has bought into it, because there's a lot of people that are only voting for him because he's the only conservative option, as much as he is a conservative. But there's enough people, because there's people at rallies that chant that kind of go on along with this and buy into it, and support this notion. And we're not talking about like small amounts. We're talking about tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that firmly believe that the only way he could lose is if it's rigged. And I don't know how we deal with that when, like you said, you can just sue your way to victory.
Right. And another thing, they're trying to have it both ways, right? Because obviously you're not going to see Trump roll up at a polling or maybe you will, because he's cured of COVID and shit.
He already voted.
Well, whatever. But my point was that they're trying to have it both ways, because they are still telling their people to vote anyway or what have you, so they can get those people in. But at the same time, they're trying to dial down and make it in certain states even more difficult to try for people that are, left leaning to cast their vote. So they're trying to say, go ahead and do the mail-in vote, but the mail-in vote is fraudulent. People will try to play games and mess that up so that they'll skew the numbers and what have you. That's why I didn't get the popular vote last time. Blah, yada, yada.
So weird to have a president who announces prior to an election that me losing will prove there was election fraud. That's just fucking bizarre.
Well, it's the same type of claim. It's these unfalsifiable claims, right? It's where, they're insular and self-preserving claims, where it's like the only way I'm wrong is if you cheated, or you, through some sort of, mischievous ways to do it.
Right.
The connection to religion is just so obvious to me, that if you believe the book of Genesis is literally true, right? The only way somebody could disagree is if they're somehow conspiring to be anti-Book of Genesis. And it can't be possible that people have simply looked at evidence and come to the most reasonable conclusion based on the evidence. No. It's a big conspiracy by science to get rid of religion. And then you try to point out most of these scientists are Christians. It doesn't matter. You can't get anywhere.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to go too far off into religion, but that shows that it's not religion exclusively that promotes this kind of unreason. It's our own tendencies, right? When we have huge portions of the population that are perfectly willing to almost self-delude and to believe in these things, and then they don't even want to bother looking into something else because this is what makes them comfortable, makes them feel good in their beliefs. And to go against that is uncomfortable. It's hard. It's a lot of work. And, why would you if what you believe is working for you?
Yeah. I like this statement from Murder Man. Hey, Murder Man. They want to help give credence to Trump's notion that the election is rigged so that when he loses, they can invalidate the credibility of the results. So ironically, they are trying to mess with the votes. Yeah. Very well said.
Yeah. It's the people that are claiming widespread voter fraud are the ones that are trying to enact widespread voter suppression in this manner. There's so many people that feel like their vote doesn't count because people are constantly telling them that. And what we're finding is that a lot of the people that are telling them that are, these Russian bot accounts or, these right-wing organizations that are just basically trying to spread the notion that, vote third party or don't vote at all, or why bother, or it's all rigged, or they're both the same. And there's just so many people that buy into it that you basically hand over the election at that point. And, the quote that's been going around is, if my vote didn't matter or if my vote didn't count, why are they working so hard to take it away from me or to stop me from doing it? It wouldn't be, they spend elections, they spend billions of dollars on ads and rallies and getting people to vote for them. They wouldn't spend billions of dollars every 4 years or 2 years, if you're talking about the entire conventions, to buy their way into victory if it didn't matter.
Right.
And all they're paying for is name recognition and just TV ads. Like, nobody talks about their policy on the campaign trail. It's all like sound bites and now anything that can go viral. If you can get a viral video or a TikTok or a meme, that's worth more than any TV commercial would ever give you. So social media is playing a big part in it, but they're just forking out just just truckloads of money to get votes. So obviously it matters.
Yeah. I think
the only way you could still say it's a conspiracy, sorry, Jenna, is if both parties are in on the same conspiracy and they're saying, hey, let's throw a bunch of money at this so people think we're counting the votes, when in reality Freemasons are choosing the winner. Which is incredibly unlikely.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say my my biggest hang up right now is the fact that there seems to be actionable occurrences of people trying to what do you call it? Trying to deceive other people from turning in their mail-in ballots.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And it feels like when certain people talk about it in reference to voter fraud, they talk about it like it's just some new thing, like, oh, we're suddenly just gonna start doing mail-in ballots. Why are we gonna do this now? Because of COVID? Yeah, that's partially the reason, but we've done this for years. It dates almost back to the Civil War, where soldiers would be fighting and they would, during that time of election season, they would be mailed their ballot in order to vote. So it's not like this is some new haphazard pull out of our ass thing that we just had to create this year because we're trying to social distance and protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, it's upsetting that when you hear stories of people lighting fires in mailboxes or dumping them in a drainage. Like I had a story like that here, not too far from me, some months ago, or about a month ago, excuse me. Or, any whole thing. People going door to door trying to take their ballot and saying, oh, just fill it out and we take care of it for you. I've heard of that instance either the last presidential election cycle or 2 years ago in a situation where I forget the state, where it was a Republican running, I guess, state senator or representative. And this is so ironic because the people that are the loudest about it is the very same people that actually did it, cause an incidence of voter fraud where their actual representative in that campaign would take people's ballots door to door and dispose of them just to skew the numbers so that person could win. I forget this. Oh gosh, I
Yeah,
forget the state senator's name in the state.
I love the fact that for being a prior service member, being a veteran, that we've voted by mail, and I bring it up, and and many opportunities that I had, saying, look, if it was good enough for me when I was in the military, it's good enough now, right? I mean, is that the case? Are we saying that our hundreds of thousands of active duty service members are, committing voter fraud, or, you know what I mean? Like, why is it good enough for them, but not for everybody else?
Right.
And, it's the same argument of, well, it's just a higher risk of fraud. And you ask them for specific cases, like, okay, what are the specific cases? How often has this happened before? What's the numbers? What's the percentage? What's the statistics here? And it's so low that it's like 0.001%. That it's negligible.
Mm-hmm.
These are very serious federal crimes. And people, it's not very common. I was just looking at, the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank, and they're tracking these, but they're a little misleading on their website where they show a bunch of dates in 2020 of voter fraud that they found, but they're actually from 2016, 18, 14. So from over the years, there are cases here and there, but what they're saying is, yes, they found these people and they arrested them, and they went to prison, or they suffered, thousands of dollars in fines.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's not like there's just, thousands and thousands or some significant number of unaccounted for votes that, nobody know where they came from or whatever it is. Like, yes, people break the law and we arrest them, or they get in trouble for it.
Yeah. I think. No, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Giggler.
Sorry to distract you guys. I realize there's a reflection in the window back there, and my wife's taking kids out of the bathtub and getting dressed in the room that you could see in the reflections.
That's
thought
fun.
it was a good idea. Those are my thoughts on politics. I was talking about my dad earlier. My dad's thoroughly convinced that there's going to be massive, like, mail-in voter fraud in this election. And when I tell him, Dad, you realize you and Mom have been strictly voting by mail for like the past 12 years, and it's worked out just fine. It just doesn't click. The voices he's listening to have convinced him this is a thing, and he's just taking it hook, line, and sinker.
Well, Donald Trump and his whole family voted absentee in the primaries. And, and nobody batted an eye over that. Nobody said a single word over the disconnect there of, why is it good enough for certain people, or the people that are on my side, but everybody else is fraudulent?
Because they know that the lesser, the poor minority, the poor white people, are the most distinctively those certain areas and certain states that have these very strict photo ID laws and are touting this notion that you have to hold this type of identification, or you can't vote, you can't walk in your provisional ballot unless you present this and that and the other. They know where these people are located, so they're trying to adamantly talk down and um, remove them from even trying or attempting to vote. And then, you have these ridiculously long lines, and you have to, you know, if you can't mail in, because not all states here can mail in the US can mail in. So you have to wait in these long lines to try to cast your vote. And you're even more far removed because you are faced with intimidation. You're faced with people standing outside trying to talk you down, or intimidate you in some way or fashion, just to try to remove you from even being able to cast your ballot. That just causes more of the vote to go to their side, and causes more of a separation of people trying to enact their civil liberties. Like, that's why.
I haven't voted in a presidential election in at least 12 years.
How dare you?
I'm in California. California is a blue state. My vote's kind of irrelevant. The Electoral College takes the interest out of voting for me in California. But AXP opened up, I think it was AXP, a week or two ago, with a promo from all like the YouTube content creators for get out and vote, go register and vote. And it was just enough to guilt me into going. I didn't have to register. I was registered already, but I hadn't been getting my sample ballots. And it turns out your registration becomes inactive if you don't vote in so many years. So I just had to go online and activate my registration, which was super easy, barely an inconvenience. If you're in my spot, do it, vote. We need the popular vote to really be Biden heavy, because of that thing I was talking about. This election's going to be contested.
Yeah.
And Biden needs to beat the point spread, or Trump's going to lose and still be the next president.
And we have less than a week. And I know certain states have even harder restrictions than others. California is just, super easy. You barely even have to take your ID into a voting place. You just have to find your name and sign in. They're like, okay, here you go. But I know it's not like that for everyone. And it could be extremely difficult to try and get yourself out there or even be motivated to do so. But I mean, if what we have already went through this year alone, with losing, a great Supreme Court seat, with people losing their jobs, people facing all sorts of everything in regards to just the year alone. Mind you, not even talking about the last 3 years with the, current administration. If that's not enough, then it'll never change. It'll be the same old, or maybe it'll just get worse. So please vote.
2020 is going to be this century's 1929, it looks like. That's when it all went to shit.
I had to think about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I haven't voted yet. I'm planning on going and voting in person. I want to have that experience in this election. Go into the booth and pull the lever or whatever the hell it is you do. I haven't done it forever, so I don't know how it works now. It's been a while.
Chip, like whatever.
Yeah, leave it hanging, Chad.
I'm gonna put my token in this machine and pull the lever. No, that's not. Yeah, it has been a long time since you voted. Anyway.
Yeah, it has. It's been a good 12 years. I don't remember who I last voted for president.
You know what's funny? I got kind of mad because my voting place is like but 5 minutes from me. And the last time I vote was during 2 years ago, during the midterms. And forever, they have been just, the bubble type. And then when I saw them move to electronic, I got scared because I was like, oh no, Russia's going to get into this. I freaked out because I was like, I like the bubble. I like, punching the little black dot hole into my ballot and be like, look, I did it right. But whatever. That's my story.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. And get my I voted sticker.
Yeah.
And then come home, watch election results, and then wait what, 5 weeks to see who the next president's going to be.
Oh God! Don't speak that into the air.
I'm glad that the absentee voting has significantly opened up for a lot of people, and early voting. I mean, you can go vote now in a lot of places, and partially because, me personally, and I know a lot of people are just already so over this election cycle, and you just like the very first opportunity that you have to vote, and you know what, like I did my thing, I did my part, I'm done, and just turn it all off because we've been living through a 4-year campaign process. Like, we have a president who, instead of working, is campaigning for 4 years. Nothing says that. I posted on my Facebook page. Like, nothing says that you're doing a good job quite like, being the active president and then begging and coercing and intimidating and, trying to come up with ways of buying votes of people who you've already shown your work to.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not voting for you based on what you've already done and what you've shown them that you're willing to do and what you're capable of, that speaks volumes in terms of what the next 4 years are going to be like. And, instead of like getting the job done and taking the appropriate steps to take care of people, you're out there begging for votes, saying we need this to stop the evil, communist Democrats. And it's just, it's just instead of working, instead of doing the job, it's been a nonstop campaign. And, the media circus is not helping because they only care about ratings. They don't care about, quality content in any way. So it's just been a nonstop, it's just been a whirlwind of just nonstop 24/7 Donald Trump for over 4 years now.
Mm-hmm. I know for a while.
Do you guys know offhand how old Donald Trump is?
He's like 72,
74.
74. Yeah. I know Biden's older than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Biden's 78.
Oh, then he's 74 then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's 4 years younger.
It's weird that we've somehow gotten in a situation where we're choosing between two septuagenarians to figure out who our next president's going to be.
Well, I've said this over and over again. I'm like, how do we get ourselves in the situation to where, Joe Biden is the face of the Progressive Party. Yeah. We have this 80-year-old white man who's a career politician, and he's the face of the future of the country.
Right. I see this as a failure of the Democratic Party, whoever the leadership is, because they had 4 years to pick somebody who could beat Donald Trump, and they chose Joe Biden.
The problem
they allowed Joe Biden. It's not the best option for us. If we had, I guess I don't know who I'd have chosen.
We're running on name recognition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares about. Nobody's voting on policies or character or
women
or agenda. Yeah, and they're not voting on anything other than, what's the most effective way to get a popular name on the ballot and spread it out, and how much money we can dump into this, and who's going to get more donations.
Mm-hmm.
None of the rest of it even matters. So he had the most name recognition. He was vice president, so people already felt like he's capable of doing it. Jena for president.
I'll do great things.
So it's definitely not.
I don't think Jena's qualified. Are you? You gotta be 30. You gotta be 35.
Why you gotta tell my age, bro?
I wasn't telling your age. I was just saying you don't look 35 to me. You can tell your age if you want to. I'm just saying.
How old are you? Are you running?
Hey.
Which election are you eligible to run in?
I would probably buy that Justin's 35.
Oh, snap!
If you were pitching that,
I'll be your vice president.
I didn't say I thought you were 35. I just said I'd buy it if you said it.
Finish your thought, Justin, please.
I've lost my train.
God damn it.
No, I was just saying that, unfortunately, Biden is the best chance
Yeah.
of winning. And it wasn't, and we didn't have the luxury of let's rage against the machine this cycle. Let's try to tear it all down and start over. Let's pick a progressive candidate that's going to change all the rules and laws overnight. We had to pick somebody that's going to win to stop this downward spiral.
Yeah. And I mean, I've heard from people say that, well, he just had to pick a Black woman for VP because that's all everyone keep saying. And I'm like, fine, I can buy that. But I'm sure as hell happy he did. And it's unfortunate that she was the very person that was running along at that time too. And you know what all happened there, why she had to pull herself out and stuff. And I remember in the last 2016 election that a lot of people were so heavily discouraged and did not want Hillary Clinton for whatever reason that they had. And we're like, you know what? If it was Elizabeth Warren, I'd so vote for her and stuff. Then Elizabeth Warren came about and she finally got herself in. And they were like, no, maybe, I don't know, but maybe Trump,
maybe
but
Joe Biden.
Maybe Joe Biden. We need someone strong and tough to, knock him off the ballot. I'm like, really? Like, you just want to say it just to say it and not be about it. Like, just be real. It's so many that, cisgender white men will say that women are too emotional. Like, they always think with their emotions and they don't think rationally when they're trying to make decisions. Yeah. 4 years later, tell me that right now. Say that one more again, because I see an equally just as emotional person sitting in that white Oval Office on a daily.
I saw a meme the other day, and somebody pointed out that white men seem to forget that anger is an emotion and one that we readily express and all the time. It might not be necessarily like crying or whatever it is, but we're really good at getting upset and pretending that we're perfectly rational.
Has it surprised you guys at all? Because it has me. That I think we all hang around certain groups of people where debates about religion are somewhat common. To me, it's really surprising that the political stuff tends to get more contentious and heated more quickly than religious discussions. It really amazes me.
Well, I think it's because the religious power, the power that you have as a religion comes from having the political power. Religions on their own have no authority. They have to take political power. So when we're talking about, if we're talking about, say, abortion in a religious sense, it's basically your choice for yourself versus my choice for myself. But when we're talking about it in a political sense, it's we start getting into the realm where people are able to control other people, because politics is the science of power, and so that it's easier to get spun out of control when you're talking about enacting legislation or policies that can affect other people. Religions do that, but only if you're in their religion or that religion is has political power.
Yeah,
that's a very thing. Like with with lobbying, that's the whole thing with lobbying. You do a lot of that to get what you want done, and that's how we got "In God We Trust" printed on our money. That's never been there forever. That only cropped up during the 60s or something. During
the Red Scare.
Yes, exactly. During the Red Scare, where a religious group, in support of their soldiers, were trying to lobby for Congress to, take out E pluribus unum and put this whole branding, and now we just have it on our money forever.
Well, we're seeing similar sentiments from that time period in terms of, these irreligious, these non-Christians, he's socialist, he's communist. You know, that's what the basically the entire Democratic Party is being branded as. And they're saying that it's, you know, synonymous with evil. So they're spinning it as a battle between good and evil. And that's very, you know, a powerful argument to make.
Yeah, it is.
It's interesting, Justin. You mentioned abortion, and it made me want to talk about this court and the impact it could have on Roe v. Wade. But I feel like we should save that for the next episode. Plus, I'm out of beer. So
you're out of beer. Are you out of drink?
I'm not, but we can wrap it
up. Okay. Dang. We're wrapping it up because Giggler's out of alcohol.
Yeah. See us next week. I'll have more beer.
Good. Thank you. You know what? Every time I never have alcohol, and I have wine in the fridge. You always have a bottle or something.
Yeah, you need like decorative wine.
Oh, should I get real bougie with it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a fancy ass. Okay, next. Yeah. Okay.
Sparkling water. That kind of stuff.
I'm gonna save that for next time. This was great. Thank you, Giggler. Last minute being on with us. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Justin, it was so nice to finally see you and talk to you after 3 months. Like, dang, bro. You're looking good. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Yes.
And hanging out.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Tune in next time. And we'll see you again. Bye.